There we go. So now it's started. So it typically is one of the highest return on investment, but like with all marketing though, guys, with all advertising, it's all in how you do it. And sometimes it does vary by the city and there are ins and outs of some of that, but all else being equal, I'd say it's definitely one of the top three highest return on investment, right? So let's see, what slide, there we go. So just so that everybody knows for sure what Google Ads actually is, right? I still get questions about, well, where do Google Ads show up? What is it all about? Where is it at? And so this is like a search for carpet cleaning Denver, and it's going to vary based on how all this shows up. We'll even run a quick search right here just to see what's going on currently. But what you're going to have is you're going to have like up at the top, you're going to have sponsored Google guaranteed local service ads, right? These are probably some of the most expensive ads that you can have. These are between $20 and $120 per lead, right? Usually right underneath that are the Google ads. So this is specifically part of what we're going to be talking about today here. But also there's this other type of an ad that can show up here that can be actually a Google Map ad, which is a really neat way to get listed too. And if you notice, look at what's going on. Okay, it's not really in this search, but some of the other searches that I've done, and when you search for like carpet cleaning Denver, I've seen like an LSA ad for Zero Res. I've seen underneath that a Google ad. I've seen Zero Res show up here in an ad, and I've also seen them show up here. And in this case, it's almost all of that. And then number one in Google, which the Google actual search is underneath there. And again, it's not all the time, but Zero Res actually, for what they are, right? Let's not argue about the quality of cleaning that they do, but for their marketing, they do pretty good marketing. I'll tell you that right now. And so they're smart about what they do, and they're going and if nothing else, showing up many times. This is one of the questions that I get is, well, I'm already ranking in Google. Should I also do a Google ad? Well, geez, why not? Why not show up 3 or 4 times, right? You can do that with a good Google ad campaign. In fact, I just, because I'm curious again right now, let's go ahead and search for carpet cleaning Denver and see what we have show up. So here we've got Google guaranteed, and then we've got 2 Google ads this time. Zero Res isn't actually in any one of those, but your ad is going to just vary based on how much you're bidding. And even if you're bidding at the top, it's not going to show up every single time. They're going to leave room for your competitors to come in. So, but in here we've got Zero Res showing up, but there's no ad that shows up here in the Google Maps this time. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't. I guess Google has a rhyme or reason for what that is. I don't know that they really disclose what that is. But and then down here we got Zero Res showing up here. So not quite as like it was a little bit ago, but they're still showing up, right? But again, this is local service ads, Google ads. Sometimes Google ads can show up here, and then underneath here is the actual Google search, the organic Google search, just so that everybody understands what that is. Any questions about the Google search? If you guys do have questions, I just want to make sure that everybody understands what the Google search is and what it's all about, before we move on. You can put that into the chat area. Okay, so mistake number one. Let's just dive right into these mistakes. I'm going to go ahead and show you kind of tidbits, examples of each of one of these. And I'm going to, then we'll take some questions and see what questions that you guys have got. Mistake number one, trusting Google AI, right? Which is basically when you set your campaign up for, sometimes even when you set it up for just conversions, maybe not so much. Some of the smart ads, some of the ad creation you can even do now with AI, but trusting Google AI or your Google ad rep. Your Google ad rep relies nothing on nothing but the AI from Google. And here's the other thing too to understand about a Google ad rep, right? And they'll even call themselves, they'll email you, they'll call you. Oh my gosh, if I had $1 for every time somebody's called me that was Google ad rep because I manage so many accounts, I could just probably retire, right? So, but the thing is, you got to keep in mind first from the standpoint of a Google ad rep, right? If you were in business back in the Yellow Pages days, or if you've ever had an ad rep for any media, right? For radio, for I don't know, Valpak or whatever you've had, right? You know that rep, right? Typically, their best interest is not yours, it's to sell you, right? That's what a Google ad rep's interest is. They have no other interest really than to get you to spend more money on Google ads. And sometimes, yes, they do need to give you the impression that your Google ads are doing well. And sometimes they actually do that inside the platform, right? Through sort of weird things that they'll pat you on the back about that aren't even important. I'll just be honest with you. That's the way it goes, right? And then if you ever get on the phone with one of these reps, they will work like crazy. I did get into an argument with one the other day, probably last week, that I just needed an answer. They're good sometimes to answer a specific question, but not even always, because the Google ad reps that are ad experts, supposedly at Google Ads, don't know as much as you think. They know how to sell you on how to turn your system over to Google, so that basically what you're doing is saying, Google, here's the $1,000 a month. Have a good time with it. I hope it does something for me, right? And you don't really even know where the money went when you totally rely on the enhanced setup and some of the and maybe we'll walk you through and show you the how you don't do some of that in just a minute. But when you do it more manually, you've got more control. So let me also just show you just kind of a couple tidbits about why some of the AI is terrible, right? When you actually go into recommendations, which are right here. Everybody should be looking at this. Don't do it right now, but everybody should always be looking at their going into your campaign and clicking on recommendations. When you go into recommendations, you're going to look at something like this, and you want to make sure, usually the only one that I'll do here is optimized ad rotation if I have more than one ad. Above that, I'm really not going to allow Google to do any of this other stuff because I've seen it get really weird and sometimes even just really bad. Okay, and I'll show you a couple examples here in just a second. So again, under recommendations, which are right here, I'd maybe let them do optimized ad rotation. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there's another one that we might do sometimes. There might be rare occasions, right? But for the most part, removing redundant keywords. I'm going to show you an example of how this is terrible here in just a second. So let's just dive into that, and I'll show you a couple of these screen captures. I've been meaning to actually make a video on this about how this AI that they do is just sometimes completely ridiculous, right? So this was an ad for a carpet cleaning company, and they'll give you recommendations that show up in your profile. They'll also call you. They'll also want to turn your whole system over so where they can give you all the recommendations. But here are the kind of recommendations that I routinely see them doing, right? This isn't an isolated situation. This is like all the time, right? So this is a carpet cleaning company again. So we've got keywords that it decided is good keywords to add. It wants to apply all these keywords. Had I had it on automatic recommendations like they want me to have it, all these would have just flown through and I would have been paying money for these, right? But I don't do that for my clients, but for giggles, I look at what the keyword recommendations are sometimes. So here's what they were going to throw in there that we stopped, right? Deep cleaner. Well, it's a carpet cleaning company, and on the surface level, you might think that's a great keyword, but it's not. That's not a carpet cleaning search keyword, right? That's maybe a maid service keyword, and it could also be any other type of deep cleaner, right? It doesn't even have to be a maid service or any service, right? Powerful carpet cleaner. So you think, well, yeah, I'm a powerful carpet cleaner. I own a powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning machine. No, this is actually looking for, this is people looking for a machine, right? A powerful carpet cleaning machine when they search that. Deep clean rug cleaner. This is clearly a carpet cleaning machine that they're searching for. Steam deep cleaner. Again, a machine. Deals carpet. This isn't deals for carpet cleaning, and it could be. I guess where they're getting the argument from is some of these people could be looking up a machine and see an ad for a carpet cleaning service and go, well, forget it. I'll just get a service instead. But the chances of that are so slim that it's not even worth the money because you're dropping $8 every time that happens, maybe more depending on what it is in your city, right? Deep cleaner near me. Now, this one, if it said carpet cleaner, that'd be a lot better. But deep cleaner, this is probably like a move in, move out, or deep cleaning maid service, right? And again, this is just one very small tidbit. If you look at some of these recommendations regularly, and you have to think of the search intent, right? Not just like, because sometimes you'd think like, well, powerful carpet cleaner, that could be a good one. Well, what if somebody really, and if you're ever wondering, go to Google and Google that term, powerful carpet cleaner. It's not a carpet cleaning service. There might be some ads there, sure, but that's primarily not what people are looking for, right? Keywords for I think, oh, they wanted to add these keywords. This is maybe a different search. I wanted to add these keywords. Again, carpet cleaning company. Carpet quote. Well, that's not cleaning. That's for like selling carpet. Carpet washer. This is from what I understand, I don't know if it's what nationality it is, but somebody told me that one nationality calls carpet cleaning carpet washing. So that could be right, but it's that specific nationality, and it's also sometimes people looking for a machine, right? So not something you want to be in with. Tile grout. Well, this is somebody looking to purchase tile and grout, not really cleaning. Carpet restoration. Well, there's maybe a good one, right? Right there, only one. Deep cleaners near me. This isn't carpet cleaning. This is for like maid services. Affordable carpet, selling carpet, selling carpet, selling carpet, selling carpet and installing carpet. A cleaning company, right? Two, maybe out of what? 10 or almost 10, right? Are actually relevant. The other ones, guys, here's the thing. Any one of these other ones that I mentioned that I said we shouldn't be doing, you would be wasting anywhere from probably on the low end $5 to on the high end maybe $15 each time somebody clicked on that forever until you delete the keyword, right? So now do you see how bad some of this stuff is? And sometimes it gets worse than this, right? So here's another thing where it almost even kind of gets worse. They automatically, I think this is a client that I'd taken on if I'm remembering right, where they had recommendations still going on. And so I went in and stopped it, but I wanted to see what was going on. So here's what happened. They removed the keyword carpet cleaner, which is for a carpet cleaning company. That's a good keyword. Why they remove it? I don't know. AI decided it was a great thing, right? And then they also removed these other match keywords, right? Carpet cleaners near me. This is a very good keyword. Carpet cleaning near me. Commercial carpet cleaning. All of these are very, well, actually, we've even recently figured out that pro carpet cleaner is not a good one. So other than those two, these other ones are dead on perfect for the most part for carpet cleaning companies, right? Especially if you have all your negative keywords in the right spot. And then Google removed them. All those searches just gone. Instead, they put in things for selling carpet and deep cleaning, right? And the other thing that's going to go on a lot of times with AI, and if you ever get on the phone with a Google ad rep, what they want to do is a lot of my campaigns, I recommend that you set a lot of them up for manual CPC once you really learn Google Ads. Until you learn them well, you could do maximize conversion, but it usually doesn't work as well. Usually it's going to cost you more money. Maximize clicks might be a better one, and then put a cap on that maximize clicks. But what's going on here is they decided, because I think this was I think my client got on the phone with a Google ad rep and got him to turn the whole campaign over to be automatic, even though I'd already set it up and it was running decently. Because those Google ad reps will bug the heck out of you until you get on the phone with them and actually go through and change it to how they want you to change it, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know, I don't know why they haven't been sued at this point for that type of thing. Maybe it's coming. I don't know. But at any rate, they went and they changed it from manual, which was set up very nicely, to maximize conversion value. And the worst part is the company didn't even have conversions set up. So there was no business at all in changing this. This was a ridiculous, stupid move on the behalf of the Google ad rep, right? Again, we don't have time to go through all sorts of scenarios, but I just wanted to show you and give you some proof that what Google recommends is almost always awful, because they don't understand. Some of it's because they don't understand the cleaning business, right? Because they're trying to just streamline the thing through AI and throw you recommendations. Some of it's because they understand that you probably don't know really how to set up Google Ads, right? And so you're frustrated and you just need something set up. So they're going to throw you something, and they understand that sure, 30-40% of it's probably garbage keywords, but the other 50-60% is good. But guess what? You can save 40% of your money if you do it the right way. You see what I'm saying? So that's the big thing to keep in mind. Okay, mistake number 2, targeting too many cities or a large area in just one campaign. And I see this a lot. Now it's totally fine. I mean, guys ask me this all the time. John, can we target 2 or 3 cities in one campaign? Absolutely. It's totally, I could target the whole country in one campaign, the whole state, 2 states, very, very easily. Targeting big areas is easy and it's not a problem. It's just as easy as targeting one zip code or one city. But it gets really clunky because ideally you want to have things honed in on just one city. Not always. There are occasions when you don't, especially if they're smaller cities or cities that are like a sister city super close together. But for the most part, you want to have one campaign per city, right? And that's not an ironclad rule. That's just the way I usually like to do it for a couple of reasons. One, maybe it's a city that is a farther away city, and you want to turn that ad off but keep the other ones on because you don't want to advertise, and you want to only advertise currently maybe in the city that's close to you, right? That's one reason. Two, you can know where your actual ads are working, right? What cities they're working in, right? And then the other bigger thing is in the ad you can actually turn around and say the city name in the ad, and when you do that, it really calls attention. It makes them feel like you are the local cleaning company for that area. So just a little bit about kind of how everything's targeted and set up. But we've done ads for as little as cities are pretty common. Sometimes we do them for a zip code, like one ad specifically for a zip code. Sometimes it's for a 1 mile radius for like a neighborhood, right? Where we talk about that neighborhood. And sometimes we would do that and run that all the time near my shop because those people were more likely to have driven by my shop. Those people were more likely to one, know who I was because I did EDDMs there in the area all the time. Also, maybe they're already a client, but it was a really good thing to advertise by the neighborhood. And then two, when you call out the fact that you're the neighborhood cleaning company, you put stuff about that neighborhood in that ad. It's way more attractive, way, 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 way more attractive. So don't target too big of an area. But again, don't get super bogged down with that. But just don't target like Atlanta and Marietta, and Dallas and Fort Worth all in the same campaign. They totally need to be two separate campaigns. Especially the bigger the city, the more that's important. So keep that in mind. So mistake number three: not giving enough budget in each campaign. So that kind of goes along with what we just talked about, and I hear this all the time. Um, if you're going to do a campaign for like Atlanta, right? And you're going to target all of Atlanta, don't just target it with, $10 a day, right? Atlanta's a big city, right? If you only have $10 a day, you need to go in on one zip code or one neighborhood, right? So the smaller that you can get, then you can actually penetrate the whole area when you spend enough in that area. So if your budget's smaller, you need to not maybe even stick to your whole city unless it's a small city. So just keep that in mind. That's a very big thing. And there is even a critical mass point in Google Ads to where when you're spending enough money in that city to where you're actually going to show up more often and to where you're actually going to kind of dominate the search. Because if you're spending too much, you're never going to rank number one in even Google Ads. Because part of the reason why you're going to rank on top is going to be part of it, large part of it is how much you're bidding, right? And what your budget is. And if your budget's already done for the day, you're not going to show up at all. But here's another little side trick. I wasn't even planning on telling you guys this, but just off the cuff, like sort of a side strategy. If you do have a smaller budget, sometimes you might want to not advertise in the morning and just advertise later in the afternoon, because some of the guys that are going against this mistake and doing exactly this, not giving enough budget, their ads are turned off because they spent all their money by 2 or 3 o'clock. Well, you turn your ads on at 2 or 3 o'clock, and then boom, you can actually get more traffic and actually show up because the other people, and maybe for less money because the other people aren't currently advertising. So there you go. Think about that. And that's only if your budget is pretty small. So mistake number four, sending prospects to an irrelevant landing page. This is pretty important because you got to understand this is the ideal way that I recommend the hierarchy of Google Ads. And if you've ever heard anything that I've talked about with Google Ads, it's all about relevancy and congruency and making sure that everything's in harmony, right? And that talks a lot about what this is about, sending prospects to an irrelevant landing page. Don't do that, right? So what you're going to want to do is think about what the ideal hierarchy, and it doesn't have to be this way. This is just kind of the way I like to think about it and do it. But you can, so this isn't ironclad, just so that you know. But typically, we're going to have your campaign, which if you get in Google Ads, you see all these things: campaigns, ad groups, and then the actual ad. But the campaign is usually going to be based on a geographical spot, and it could be a city. Typically, it's a city. Sometimes it's a zip code, but any area, right? It could be a 1 mile radius. It could be the whole state if you wanted it to be. It could be the whole country. It could be 2 zip codes. It could be a 2 mile radius. All of that, it has to be at least 1 mile radius. Could be anywhere from 1 mile radius to the whole world, right? And again, usually the smaller the better for the most part. But you're going to have the campaign. Underneath that campaign, you're going to have ad groups. And then each ad group is going to be a service, whatever services that you want to do, carpet, rug, water damage. You want to have one ad group per service, right? Don't have an ad group that targets carpet and tile. Don't have an ad group that targets carpet and anything else. One service per ad group. And underneath the ad group, you're going to have ads, right? You might have more than one ad in an ad group. You might have just one, but obviously that ad is about carpet. So, and then it leads to the page. A landing page is just a page that people go to when they click on something, right? And usually an ad, right? In the case of Google Ads, it's an ad. So go with me here, right? So we've got a campaign and we call it Carpet Cleaning Atlanta, right? And then, or let's call the campaign Atlanta, right? And then we have ad groups, maybe one for carpet and one for rug cleaning. In the carpet ad group, we've got an ad for carpet cleaning and carpet cleaning alone. That ad leads to the carpet cleaning page of your website or some other, it doesn't even have to be your website, but a carpet cleaning page, it's nothing but about carpet cleaning, right? And then under the Atlanta campaign, you might also have an ad group for tile cleaning, right? And then a specific ad for tile cleaning, right? Because the ads are in an ad group, the ad groups are in a campaign, and then that tile cleaning ad leads to a page that's all about tile cleaning. That's super important. That alone, if you're not doing it that way, can save you tons and tons of hassle, headache, and money, right? So keep that in mind. Mistake number 5, targeting people outside your service area. I see this not as often as I used to, but it can still be a problem. Where you fix that is underneath your campaign settings. Remember, the campaign is the area. It's the geographical spot. And that's where that setting is actually at. So what you want to do when you get into your setting for your individual campaign, in this case, Midland, Texas, right? You want to make sure you're clicking on presence, people in or regularly in your targeted areas or locations, right? Where they keep you. And it's funny that they recommend this. Maybe, I guess, in their defense with Google Ads, they might recommend this because they're not always dealing with local companies and service companies. But for a local service company, my gosh, for crying out loud, you have to be only targeting people in or regularly in your locations. Because here's what'll happen. If you leave it on this, you're going to be getting clicks from people, and I've seen this, right? Not seen this in the reports and from when my client didn't have it set right. You'll be getting clicks from people in India, in China, South Africa, all over the place, right? And then I guarantee you those people in those other countries are not looking for your service. They're just there doing research and data aggregation, right? And sometimes it's a bot, sometimes it's, whatever the case may be, but you want to only target people in or regularly in your targeted locations, right? And sure, you can go in and exclude other countries, but how many countries are there in the world? Do you want to spend 5 hours excluding 85 countries? I don't even know how many countries there are, but you don't want to do that. And you do probably want to exclude the ones that you see showing up a lot, maybe. But for the most part, just doing this takes care of that, right? Do that. Get that done. Mistake number 6, misusing or not using extensions in Google Ads. In fact, let's jump over to Google Ads right now. In Google Ads, there's a thing called extensions, right? And they're going to show up. Let me see the best spot where I can pull that up. Maybe those are recommendations. Let's look at, I'm not even sure. This is a campaign I use a little bit, but not a whole lot. So under assets, they used to be called extensions. Why did I even put extensions? They're called assets now. They're not called extensions. So they're assets. All right. You want to make sure that you've got assets going on. And they're going to be located here. You're going to go to the sidebar, click on the particular campaign you're going to go to, but you're going to click on assets over here. And then you're going to look at something like this. You want to make sure that you've got all of these that you can filled out. You want to have image assets, you want to have your logo. You do have to go through a verification process to be able to do that, but it's just putting a lot of times your business license, that type of thing. You want to have site links. The headline and description, not so important, because those are just something that you're probably already going to have in an ad anyway. But you might want to use them. You definitely want call outs, structured snippets, your phone number. You definitely probably might want a lead form, your location. There are occasions where you might not want a location if you don't want your clients to know that you service that specific city. Here would be an example of that. Maybe you are targeting an ad for, oh, I'm trying to think of an area. I don't know. Let's say Denver, right? You're targeting that, but maybe your physical location is in Boulder, right? And you service Denver, which is an hour away, but you don't want people to know that your physical Google Map location is in Boulder. So in that case, you don't want that to show up for that ad, but you do want it to show up for your ads in Boulder, right? And there's ways to do that, through here. You probably also want a promotion, may or may not want price. I probably don't recommend price, and for cleaning companies, unless you happen to have an app, you don't want to use an app. But almost all of the other ones you're going to want to look into doing, right? Assets are super, super, super important. Highly recommend that you do that. Mistake number 7, not using the right negative keywords. So here's the deal. Remember how we talked and looked at some of those other keywords with like deep cleaning and deep carpet cleaning and all of that, right? Well, if you have the word deep carpet cleaning in quotes, what that means to Google is if somebody types in the words deep carpet cleaning and anything else in the world, your ad will show up, right? So if they just type in deep carpet cleaning, that too, your ad will show up. If they type in deep carpet cleaning rental, your ad will show up. If they type in deep carpet cleaning machine, which I've seen both of those show up a lot, right? Your ad will show up. So how do you fix that? How do you not show up for people looking for rental machines? Well, you go in the negative keywords. I'll kind of show you I think I had one of these set and ready to go. You're going to go in the negative keywords and you're going to add a list. I think I've got a list right now. We're probably around 400. I think I've got another list that goes with this too. But this list is 434 negative keywords. I've probably got another one that's like 100 and something negative keywords. And these are all just lists of things that saying that if anybody types any of these phrases in, if it's quotes, that's a phrase, right? If anybody types these things in any order with any other thing too, that's what quotes kind of mean in Google Ads, right? Then your ad won't show up. So deep carpet cleaner, deep carpet cleaning Bissell machine, right? Bissell's something people will search for with carpet cleaning, right? Well, if they type in any of the versions of Bissell, because we've got different spellings, right? Then your ad won't show up, right? And you wonder, like, here we have the word bikini, right? Well, why in the world why would that even be important? Well, you can actually go in and look at what people are searching for, and specifically for maid services, right? You'll have people in bigger cities, especially searching for things like maid service in a bikini, because they want maids to come out in a bikini and whatever they're going to do with that. But if you have a maid service, it's the keyword. Also, to adult maid service, that type of stuff. You want to make sure that that's not stuff that you're showing up for, right? I guess unless you happen to be, that type of service. But so you want to, go in and think about what all these are. So we have this big list, because a lot of people will be searching for rental machines. A lot of people will be searching for tips. So one of the negative keywords is tips. They type in anything and if they say the word tips in their search, we won't show up because I don't want any of my ads or any of your ads to show up for people that are really looking for tips. Granted, sure, there's a very slight possibility they could turn around and hire you, but it's so small that it's not really worth the constant amount of money that you would be spending on the clicks. You really want to hone it down to where you're only looking for people that are actively looking for your type of a service, right? So we've got all these keywords, and again, rental, Bissell, Bona, for the people for hardwood. Bullshot, I think that's a new spot remover. And I didn't even know about it till I started looking at the actual search terms. I'm like, what is this bullshot thing, right? I look it up and yeah. So Carbona, people also too are looking for a carpet steam cleaner. Let's somebody looking for a machine, right? for cheap. If you're not a cheap carpet cleaner, there you go. So that's, that's pretty much the thing that you want to, apprentice, advice, adult made service, right? Acidic cleaner or acid cleaner for tile. You'll see that acid tile cleaning, and how to is one of them, too, as well. So you want to make sure that barkeeper, I think I saw that for barkeeper's friend. You want to make sure that as many phrases as you can think of are there to where you're not showing up. Because guess what, guys? There's more phrases that you don't want to show up for than you do want to show up for, especially when you're paying 5 to 14, $12, whatever it may be per click, per person that goes to your website, right? Because if they're looking for tips, they're probably not somebody that you really want to necessarily market to. And again, not always, but that's normally kind of the case. So let's dive right back in over here. Oh, Gavin's asking, how do you see? Well, that's going to be like right in when you look at an ad. Let me see if I can. I'm not sure that I've even. What you're going to do is you're going to click on a campaign, and then I'm not sure that I can really. If there's one that I can show very well here. Let's maybe look at let's look at all time. So here's an old campaign we used to run. So you're going to look at like here, and then you're going to go to insights and reports and search terms. So these are the words that people actually typed in, right? Carpet cleaning. And then if you see one that you don't like, you want to negative that out, you can. A lot of these are competitors. By the way, the other thing is if you by default, and this happened a few months ago, Google is having you show up for Stanley Steamer searches, even though you might not be targeting them. Zerorez, all the big franchises. If you're okay with that, if you can convert them into clients, by all means, keep that. Even target the keywords, right? But if you're not okay with that and you can't convert them, and or maybe Stanley Steamers are a really cruddy franchise in your area. Some areas are good, some areas they're bad. In that case, you want to negative keyword those out, right? And or if it's a competitor that you really don't like, right? You want to negative keywords that out. So I'm looking at these, and these are all pretty clean. I can't even, well, car carpet cleaning. Maybe you don't do car carpet cleaning, right? Carpet shampooer, that'd be one to negative keyword out. So you're just going to select the ones you want to add and just add to a negative keyword list or campaign or whatever you want to do, and just add that kind of that way. So that's how you do that. So mistake number 7, not using, we already talked about, you want to make sure that you're using lots of negative keywords. And again, it's just keywords that when somebody searches that, anything to do with that actual word, that you're not going to show up. Your ad looks like other cleaners ads. This goes with any type of advertising, guys. If your ad looks similar to another cleaning company's ad, it's a terrible ad. That's kind of the litmus test for seeing if your ad's any good or not. Because what that really means is you said nothing unique about your company. Why should they use you? Why should they click on your ad? Why should they think about using you over Joe Blow when your ad looks just like Joe Blow? You said the same things Joe Blow said in his ad. So for the most part, and this is not ironclad either, but part of that to me means I would avoid doing X rooms for X dollars for any service, or just a blanket amount of a whole house cleaning for maid service or whatever it may be. I would strongly recommend avoiding that, because let's walk down a quick example, right? Somebody Google, well, let's go ahead and Google and see what actually what happened here on these two. So Docks of Denver, 5-star carpet cleaning. Okay. Carpet cleaning. Did either one of these guys say anything unique? He said that he has 5 stars. Zerorez did not. In my opinion, this ad is better, right? Just because of that. So we can even search like carpet cleaning and see what we have show up right there. So Doug's, the best carpet cleaner. I don't know. From an advertising standpoint, you got to worry about that, because how do you define that? Now, if they get on this landing page, I know Doug, so I'm not gonna click on the ad. I don't want to charge him money. But if he proves that, I can't remember. I've actually done some work with him. I can't remember if we actually changed the landing page where it actually kind of proves that, but if he can really prove that he's the best carpet cleaner in Colorado, then this is a great statement. But that's a pretty grand, it's called a grandiose statement, right? If you're going to make a statement, a big claim like that, you got to back it up with real proof, right? But in this case, here's one: 3 areas for $189. That's kind of what I'm talking about, right? I don't know what it is with carpet cleaners, but they always think like, what do I say in my ad? I know, blank rooms for blank dollars. And everybody does it, right? If this guy comes along and says 3 areas for $159, he beats it just like that. That's all it takes. Heck, 3 rooms for $179. You're beat, you're dead in the water now because somebody just your main unique selling thing, unless I guess they happen to say 8 years in service in business, right? But they're probably not going to say that if it's only 8 years, especially. But that's why you got to know what your competitors are actually saying. Assume that they're all saying blank rooms for blank dollars, though, right? It's just kind of I don't know if I'd say the word feeble, but that might be a good word. It's kind of a feeble marketing proposition. One, you're saying, hey, use us because we're cheap and because of this special, which is from a advertising standpoint is bad in and of itself, unless that happens to be, granted, there are companies that's their main selling point, that's their main thing. I get it. If you're a 1 or 2 truck company, though, guys, you really can't fill that position, right? You can't fill that position anyway, so don't even try. But for the most part, even if you are not a 1 or 2 truck company, I don't recommend it. There are ways and models where that will work, though, but it's not as easy as you're thinking, right? It's not as easy as just going, hey, he said 3 areas for 189. I'll say 3 areas for 169 and win. And you might win temporarily until somebody else comes in and says 3 rooms for 149. That's all it takes. See how easy it is to beat somebody at the price game? Now, the only real problem with that is now nobody's making any money, right? So that's a big problem, right? Now you're making less profit and maybe no profit, possibly losing money, right? So make sure your ad looks different, say different things, talk about your guarantees, talk about if it's a carpet cleaning or even tile upholstery, talk about what you're going to do if spots return. Talk about why you have a great reputation in the area. That's what they're really interested in. So mistake number 9, your landing page or your website does not sell. I see this all the time, which, by the way, guys, if you're even thinking about doing any SEO or it doesn't even matter. Don't you want to know if your landing page and your website sells when people go to your website? All you have to do is set up a quick Google Ads campaign, run traffic to your site. A week or 2 later, if you don't get, find out how many people went there, if it was, more than 30 people and you didn't get a single call, you need to revamp some things on your website. No question about it. Either something was wrong in your Google Ads, you were targeting the right people in your right city looking for your service. So you need to do all the things I just talked about too, with the negative keywords and making sure all that stuff's in line. But if all that stuff's in line and you had 30, 40 people go to your website and didn't get a single call, your website does not sell. There are not things in that website that talk people into um, picking up the phone and calling, right? What are some of those things? Well, some of those things would be like, telling them, I don't know, look at this website real quick. This is Sean Bisayone. He's an IICRC instructor and client of mine. But so, they go to this website and, so what sells them? Well, one, I always recommend that you have a good picture of you, maybe your wife, maybe your family, maybe your technicians, but not just to put a picture of you and because you like yourself, right? Just so that you can prove that, hey, we're real people and here we are. We're not trying to hide behind smoke and mirrors. Some of the worst responding websites, to be honest with you, don't have any pictures of anybody and are just nothing but clip art pictures, right? People know when it's just clip art and pictures that you just bought off the internet. It kind of looks like you're hiding behind something, right? So that's part of it. But here, like in this case, he's got a picture of his van. He's got talks about what he does. It's different. He talks about a 200% guarantee and what that specifically means. He's got videos of him. He's got another video of him in his van up over here. So the videos show proof about who you are because people are wondering, like, who are you really? Are you really he's a member of the chamber? It's got some testimonials here. A lot of times I recommend like listing your reviews. You know, there's WordPress plugins that you can use for that like in real time almost put your Google reviews on your website. Just basically just proving that you're a real company with a good reputation. That's really what all of that's about. So make sure that you're spending some time doing that kind of stuff. We've got a whole module for that. Unfortunately, that's a whole Zoom meeting in and of itself. But make sure that you're spending some time making sure that your website sells, because you could have the best Google ad in the world targeting the best neighborhoods. And if they get to your site and they're not convinced that you have a good reputation and they should pick up the phone and call you, you will still get no calls, right? I see that stuff sometimes, right? So make sure that your website sells. Mistake number 10, not running a remarketing campaign, right? Now, there are occasions where maybe if you're doing a really small Google ad and you're only getting 100 or 200 people a month to your website, it might not be worth it to do a remarketing campaign. But if you're getting several hundred people plus, it would be well worth it. And so what that means is you basically put a code in the back of your website with cookies. And then once somebody goes to your website, you're going to follow them all over the place with ads. Like this is the one we had specifically for the nice area right by our shop. And then they would see, you know, and this is just one website that it could show up on, but CNN, weather.com, whatever, but they would see our ad, you know, seeing it, we would say, you know, Scenic Hills, right? Free whole house cleaning giveaway. At that point, we were doing kind of a giveaway. We wanted to remind them about that giveaway and us, and you know, wow, Scenic Hills, they're doing this right in Scenic Hills, and it brands our logo back there. When they click that, they go directly to our website. Again, weather.com, all sorts of other, you know, places. So, you know, you want to be able to do this if you've got any amount of traffic. So, make sure you're doing that, right? And again, if you're just spending a little bit, you don't have very much traffic, it may not be worth it because it may never kick in. But I think you have to have an audience of at least 1,000, which can be compiled over, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I think it's 90 days. So if you have 1,000 people at least going to your website within 90 days, I would do it, you know, for sure. So let's see what other questions that we've got here. Oh, Steve just private messaged me and asked a question. If you guys have questions, go ahead and ask them now. We'll have a few minutes for questions. So I could probably take maybe another 2 or 3. So we answered Gavin's question about the negative keywords. As far as your budget, so Steve's asking about how much should I budget for Google Ads ideally in your city. So in like a medium-sized city, you know, for that one campaign, probably I'd start at maybe $30 a day. If it's a big city, if you're talking like Atlanta, Houston, Tampa, you know, cities that are like 500,000 plus, if you're going to target the whole city, I probably would start at maybe at least 60, at least maybe 50. I don't know. You can maybe do as little as 50. Maybe even a little bit more, and that's per day. And so what you're telling Google too, when you do that per day bid, you're saying, Google, I'm willing to spend up to and including $50 per day on this ad, you know, for the whole month or until I pause it, right? So it's not, you know, you're not committed to the whole month. So what you're not really, you're just committing to that 50 a day. I can't ever do math in my head when I'm trying to talk on a Zoom meeting. So let me see here. So that'd be $1,500 just for that one city. And even then, you're not going to make a huge dent. So really, that'd be probably the bare minimum, right, of what I would do. And that's just Atlanta. And that's probably just for one service, like for carpet cleaning. And some of that does vary by the service too. So like $50 per day for hardwood might be sufficient, right? Maybe. And that's a big maybe. Really, I'd probably recommend more than that. Because again, there is a critical mass amount that when you get to that, you'll actually show up more. So, what other questions have we got? Here? Let me scroll up and down and see. Okay, Mark is asking. So, how do I know how my website actually, if it sells or not? Really, it's going to be like I said, set up an ad campaign. Set up an ad with the campaign and in that one specific city. When you're testing it, test it small. I don't recommend that if you're in Atlanta, I don't recommend that you start testing Atlanta tomorrow, right? I recommend ideally really test with the zip code, unless you just want to go ahead and get everything off the ground and you're not worried about wasting a little bit of money at the beginning. If that's the case, then just go for it, right? If not, you do want to go ahead and test like maybe a zip code, maybe a zip code or just a part of Atlanta, right? Because it's going to almost be the same thing. And if your budget is, $30, $40, then you probably want to do that anyway. Maybe even $50. You might only want to target half of Atlanta. And the beautiful thing about Google Ads, guys, is you can target where you want to target, right? So again, when I did Google Ads, it was largely for carpet cleaning. We really only did carpet cleaning ads right by our shop, right? A mile or two radius by our shop in the nicer neighborhoods, right? Now, rug cleaning, we did more for like the whole city. Sometimes we even did it in an adjacent, nicer city. Very, very rarely, if ever, did we really go beyond that, but that was just for area rug cleaning, specifically area rug cleaning. Tile cleaning might have been about the same thing, but when we got busy too, we turned off those tile cleaning ads. We turned off the carpet cleaning ads. We might not have turned off the area rug cleaning ads because those were something that I always loved rug cleaning when we were doing carpet cleaning too at the same time, because if we ever had a slow day, week, whatever, we always had area rugs so we could do when and if. Right. So that's why area rugs were just kind of a fill in for extra time. Well, we did have a lot of times one guy dedicated to do area rugs, but when we had more area rugs than we needed, so we would rarely turn off, the point to that is we would rarely turn off an area rug campaign, but we would turn off tile, that type of thing. So, we got a ton of questions coming in now. Let's see. Well, we'll see if we can get through some of these here. What is it exactly where we would change the bid amount for that specific ad? We don't really have time to really get in specifics right now of showing you like where all of that's at. But well, I don't know, maybe where you would change that would just be right in, let's see, so this is the search terms that people were actually searching. So under ad groups, and it depends on if you're on max clicks or not. So this campaign is set up for max CPC. So we would just change that right here. We would actually go into the ad group and then you look at your list of keywords. Then we would change that to, $8 and bid it up or down, and again, that'd probably be something I would pause today, but yeah, we would bid it up or down just like that. So is it okay to do a combined budget for all 6 Google ads? You can't really. You have to have well, you maybe could. So it's the budget is per campaign, and it usually is per campaign each campaign is an area, right? And it could be a city, could be a state, could be whatever. And you might have 6 ads under that campaign, but not normally, but maybe. But it's budgeted per campaign, right? So Cal is asking, is there certain software you would suggest to build a landing page? WordPress, all day long, WordPress. Actually, the software that I hardly even talk to you guys about this, but the high level software that we give for free in the Ad Coaching Club actually has software to build either a website or a landing page. You guys could use that as well. So either high level software or WordPress would be what I would recommend if you're doing a website. If you need help with that, that's stuff that we do, let me know. Diane's asking, what's the 3 things that should be on every page to sell besides personal photos? That's one of them. Reviews and call to action, that's one of them. Really, here's the big thing. There's not specific, like it has to be there all the time. You just have to prove that you have a good reputation. Because the first thing, when somebody goes and Googles carpet cleaning Denver or wherever, right? First thing that they're wondering, they see this ad, they're going, okay, well, looks like they've got 100% money back guarantee and they're the best carpet cleaner in Colorado. Okay, we'll see. We'll check it out. They're super skeptical right now. They don't believe what they just read, right? Same thing with 3 areas for $189. Yeah, right, whatever. You're gonna bait and switch me. They're skeptical. Or truck mounted hot carbonated. Geez, nobody else does that, right? Oh, that's Kendra. But they're super skeptical. So let me see if I can see like Doug's. Let's see. Well, he doesn't have an ad here. Let's go to somebody else's. So you got to remember when somebody goes to your website. So this is top rated company and we're calling. So let's say they clicked on this from an ad, right? This is organic. But the first thing that they're wondering is, are you really from my city? Because if you're not, which they are, I don't want to spend another half a second here. I'm going to backspace. So that's why you got to prove it front. That's maybe one of the things is prove that you're from your city first. right? And they did pretty well at this, right? From there, now they take a little bit of a deep breath and they go, okay, good. So you do service by city, we got that out of the way. Thank God. Good. Now I'm wondering, can I trust you? Right? Do you have a good reputation? Can I trust you? So what leads to that? Well, one, the look of the site. The van picture is a little blurry, but it shows a lettered van. So, and one of the things I could say, well, have a picture of your lettered van. Well, I know one of my clients that actually has a pretty good company doesn't have lettered vans for whatever reason. He doesn't want them. So that's not an ironclad rule, but a lettered van does prove, if it looks professional, that you have a good reputation, right? Because probably Joe Blow, the guy that's just struggling in carpet cleaning, probably driving a rust rocket, right? And it probably doesn't look good, and it's probably not lettered, and it's, you know what I mean? And then that's not always the case, but when you do show that lettered van, you're showing that we care enough to advertise we're proud of our company, we're proud of our logo, we're proud of, and we keep the van clean. Hopefully it stays this clean all the time, right? But that leads to trust. Doesn't mean everything, right? What else leads to trust? And again, just various things, right? In this case, he's a CRI member, IICRC, and if you're not, again, not a big deal. It's not just one thing, right? It's just several things. How can you prove that you have a good reputation? He doesn't even have pictures of anybody. He's got pictures of his van. Maybe he does down here. I'm not real sure. Okay. And he's got other pictures showing like the Colorado area. Probably one would be maybe a Google map, because then that actually helps your Google map rank a little bit better and shows that you're really local. And if you've got more than 3 or 4 reviews, it shows your reviews. So I would do that as well. You already mentioned kind of the reviews. Probably an email opt-in would be another thing, or a way that they can contact you. Maybe even listing more testimonials. Facebook, I don't know if I'd really lead in Facebook, but maybe if you got a lot of good reviews there. What other thing might have been good? Just more, what I love to see is like personalized pictures of stuff, right? I've got a client, I didn't get his permission, so I won't show it, but he's got pictures of and he did this when we started doing Google Ads, and he added these pictures later per my recommendation. And I can't remember how much his response rate went up, but it went up pretty good, right? So before he had all the generic, clip art pictures, I said, well, dude, man, you really need some personalized pictures of like you guys, the company's got friendly employees, right? He talks about we got friendly employees, but people don't have to believe it just because you say we're the #1 carpet cleaning company or we're friendly, right? Well, he added pictures of him with his baby strapped to the front of him while he's using the RX-20 cleaning carpet. Baby's laughing and he's got a big smile. What does that picture say, guys? And a video can do almost the same thing, right? That picture says that we're a family-run company, right? We love our kids, and we're friendly people. We're real people and we're friendly people. And that picture says it in a very interesting way. And then he's got several other pictures that he recently added of like him and some of his technicians. Like one of the pictures, he's down on the ground, and I think he's doing some grout dyeing or something. But he's, got the grout thing in one hand. He's looking up with just a big smile to the camera, right? Friendly, and we actually get down on our hands and knees and do work. That's what that says, and it says it in a big way. So you see what I mean? There's not just one answer to that. Those are just some tidbits. As soon as I start giving specific answers, like IICRC, somebody goes, "Well, I'm not certified, so I don't, oh well, I guess I can't do well with Google Ads or with my website." That doesn't mean that. Or I don't have lettered vehicles because I can't park it in my neighborhood, so I guess I can't do Google Ads. Doesn't mean that at all, right? Those are just a few things that you can add that can help. The other big thing is like a guarantee, like a big plastered guarantee, big and bad, like up here, maybe with a picture of the owner, backing that guarantee up, that type of thing. So good. So that's the kind of stuff that I would recommend. So what I do want to tell you guys about too, though, is we're starting to do an update of the whole Google Ads training course. We're actually starting to put up the content next week. And basically with the course, you're going to be able to get all of the keyword lists of the best keywords. And again, I've been doing Google Ads since it started, right? So you're going to be able to get all the keyword lists. You're going to be able to get all the negative keywords. I've got a negative keyword list of like 500 of the things that you don't want to show up for, right? You're going to be able to get proven ad examples, training to make your website sell. We've got like a whole hour-long training session on that, right? Videos and handouts, and it's both. For all of this, we have videos and handouts, and we even do Zoom meetings specifically like this to really dive in, answer questions, and go over specific things. Like I said, to even really cover like how to make your website sell, that's almost an hour long. You really need to go, and that's one of the most important things. I know sometimes we think like, okay, yeah, I can just skip over that, or let's just run a bunch of Google ads, but no, you need to pay attention to that, right? So we've got videos and handouts and Zoom meetings. And then the other really great thing is if you're setting Google ads up yourself, with this course, or if you're part of the coaching club too, you get in the course. I'll actually do a review of your Google ads for you for free, like included, with the course. And I don't do that for anybody else, right? To get in and actually spend any time looking at your Google ads, that's, and that could be, I literally often go in and save members hundreds of dollars per month, sometimes thousands off of just a few weird errors, that I see inside there. So that's coming up. And if you're already in the ad club, then don't worry, you'll have access to all the updated material for that. You'll be invited to the training meetings that we'll be having starting in just a couple of weeks, but the new content should be starting to come out next week. So the course itself is $697, or you can join the ad coaching club again, and you can have full access to that. And the link for the coaching club, you've probably seen that, but it's hitmanadvertising.com/ad coaching. And then the link for the Google ads is hitmanadvertising.com/Google-ads. So the other neat thing too, if you're thinking about joining the coaching club, this might be the other thing that just kicks you in the pants to get it, to actually start doing it. We're also still, if you join right now, we're in the middle of doing some mastermind groups. And then we're gonna be doing a different version of the mastermind groups. I think initially I told everybody that they'd be going on until like the beginning of December. But even after that, we're gonna do a different version somewhat of mastermind groups. I've really gotten a lot out of, and then I think Karen and some of the other guys that are even seen on here are part of some of these masterminds, and Roderick. But I've gotten a lot out of just kind of, and that's the reason why I started doing it anyway, just touching base with you guys and really getting a tap on like what really is going on in your world, in your lives, and in your businesses. So we're still doing those mastermind meetings. What that's all about is we meet in a group, and it's just a smaller amount than this. And normally it's 4 to 8 people, and we just work on one goal, one of your goals, not my goal, but one goal that you pick, and everybody in the group helps you, me included, helps you achieve that goal. And we've already been having some really good track and some really good success with some of the mastermind groups that we've been having. So that's part of well, thank you, Karen, for that. I appreciate that. So that's part of what's going on in the ad coaching club, plus all the other stuff. You get access to the software to do texting and emailing. You get access to hundreds of different postcard templates, brochure templates, email newsletter templates, software to send out the email newsletters. The email newsletter is already done for you, to where all you really have to do is look at it and just send it out. You don't even really have to look at it if you don't want to. So all that's part of the coaching club. So now would be a great time to join. I think the mastermind meetings right now are still going on, but again, we're going to be kind of morphing those into something a little bit different, toward the end of the year, beginning of next year. So all right, guys, any other questions? Just let me know. You can send me a message. I'd love to see you guys part of one of these groups, one of the mastermind groups, or part of the ad coaching club, part of the Google Ads course. If you're going to do Google Ads, the thing is too, there are courses out there for Google Ads, right, that are probably less than $697, right? In fact, I know there are, right? There's probably some that are more than that too, right? But the courses that are out there are generic. They're not like specific to the cleaning industry, right? I literally have been doing Google Ads like within a year of it ever starting, maybe even 6 months, probably less than a year. Once I heard about it, I'm like, wow, this is cool. Checked it out, and I did it years ago, right? So what you're going to be getting with that course is my experience, and what to do, what not to do, the best keywords. You don't have to take that learning curve and waste all that money. So, all right, guys, God bless. Have a great rest of the night, and we will talk to you guys later on. Hope you guys got something. Thanks.